Okay, so key strategy number 3, you got to prioritize protein. So if you're going to cut calories, don't cut them from protein. Don't cut them from protein, right? Now, the RDA, which stands for the recommended dietary allowance, the daily amount, is based on sedentary individuals just to preserve muscle tissues. Again, sedentary meaning they're not exercising, they're not trying to lose weight or gain. So does this apply to your people? Probably not, because they exercise, right? And they're going to want to lose weight. So we know that it's not enough. And what does protein do? What makes it special as compared to carbs and fats? Well, it's got the building blocks of muscle tissue. It's the actual stuff. Picture a bunch of Legos, little pieces of all different colors that are required to build muscle tissue. And we know that one of those building blocks is leucine. It's the one that's needed to start the muscle building process. They call it the trigger to muscle protein synthesis. And you need at least 2 to 3 grams, more for older individuals, more for bigger individuals. If you got more muscle mass, you need more. And then the other essential aminos are needed to keep the muscle protein synthesis turned on, which is why we formulate some of the products the way we do, so that it has sufficient leucine, whether you're taking the whey, the best plant, the lean MR, or the essential amino acids in the amino boost, so that you can keep the muscle protein synthesis turned on. Now, protein also has the highest thermic effect of food. Remember what that was back in the definition of terms that we covered? It's the number of calories your body uses to break down food. So for protein, it's around 30%. You're going to use about 30% of the calories from protein to digest it, to break it down, to metabolize it. Whereas carbohydrates, you only use around 8 to 10% of those calories. For fat, it's maybe 1 to 2% of those calories. So you can see that if you cut back carbs or fat and you increase protein in your diet, you're going to have a higher thermic effect of feeding. Now, the really cool thing about protein is it's got the satiating effect, right? What do people hate when they're going on a diet? They hate feeling hungry. It's one of the worst feelings. So protein blunts hunger very effectively, right? In the form of free-form amino acids, like amino boost or a whey protein or food. It all, the rise in essential amino acids blunts hunger. So it's got this satiating effect, which means you can be more consistent with staying in a deficit. So the target here is to aim for, I'm going to give it to you in pounds per body weight for those of you who can't get your body composition done. It's 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of your body weight. So take your body weight, multiply it by 0.7, and that's your low end. And then just take your body weight, right? Like, so let's say you weigh 150, then your upper range would be 150 grams per day. Or you can go by a gram per pound of lean body mass, if those of you who can take your body composition done, and you want to spread it across approximately 4 meals a day to keep the muscle protein synthesis going. And Neal's going to talk about this next.
Yeah. So whether you work out or not, that graph on the right tells you what's happening in your body right now. As you're sitting, who's ever sitting down or standing up, whatever, that's what's happening. Every 4 hours, your body is, somewhere in your body is building muscle, tearing it down 4 hours up. So in other words, if you stopped eating right now, you will end up on the downside, right there on the downside, as you can see where it says that. And if protein doesn't come in, all you do is shrink and eventually die. It's that simple. So the goal is every 4 hours, if you want to maximize synthesis, I'm not talking about your average person, but if you want to maximize synthesis, that's how the old 4-hour rule came into play. We know this is how the body works. So every 4 hours, you make sure protein's available. And that's the whole idea. Now, however, the average person, if they don't eat every 4 hours, they're fine as long as they're getting the 1 gram per pound of lean body mass at least a couple times, 3 times a day. It's good enough. But if you're trying to maximize protein synthesis, then every 4 hours what you want. That's maximizing. And that's like athletes and, of course, recovery from intense exercise. But most of your clients will be just fine getting a gram per pound. But a real important note, which we'll talk about as we get into the part 2s and part 3s, is the protein before and after a workout. Because that window, that right after a workout, no matter where you are in protein synthesis or tear down, obviously you've just torn it down, right? If you don't eat, eventually you can't build any protein if you don't eat right after. And if you never eat again, you're dead, right? You just shrink and die. But I have to paint that picture for everybody so to really get it. But what happens is when amino acids and protein degradation, when you wiped it out during a workout, when they meet, like right at the same point, right after a workout, that's when, like Kat was telling you, the nutrient sensitivity is so high, the sponge is empty. It's going, please help me. So it stays there and it soaks it up, and that window closes after about 60, 90 minutes. You don't get that same activity. So you really want to make sure before and after a workout, and that'll prolong the ability for you to work out the rest of your life by getting that extra recovery every single workout.
Yep.